What about it, YouTube? So yeah, I was raised Mormon, and there's a little known thing in history with the Mormons that I wanted to talk about, just to see how y'all feel about it. So yeah, the Mormons, you know, they love Jesus. They preach his gospels. They're a little bit different than other Jesus lovers, because they accept this prophet, this Johnny-come-lately, if you will, prophet named Joseph Smith, and so they hold him in high regard. You know, you hear a lot about Joseph Smith and how people feel strongly about their faith in him as a prophet. So anyway, they decided that they were going to settle up and build their place to live in Utah, and they had non-Mormons that were there too, settled in the Ogden area and Park City area, and everybody lived there in peace, and it was all well and good. But then there was this tribe that tried to come in. You might have heard of the Utes, the Utah Utes, right? So what that's all about is that this tribe decided that was their land, and that that their forefathers or whatever had promised it to them, and that they had this, that they were endowed to occupy that land. And so anyway, they started to come in, and at first there wasn't that many of them, and so people just sort of allowed them to push their way in a little bit. But then they got real militant, and they started just burning people's crap down, and people's stuff was just all of a sudden gone, and kill people, no problem, just every kind of abuse, women, children, they just didn't have any regard. And the Mormons were real peaceful people, love Jesus and stuff, and so they tried, just making deals with them, and no sooner would they get a deal sort of hashed out, and then there'd be some other expansion, and and it really got crazy. And anyway, I think I'm confused. I think I'm confusing the Mormons with the Sunnis, who love Jesus and accept the Gospels and love Jesus. The Sunnis that live in Palestine, and the Sunnis that live in the Middle East, and the Christians that live in the Middle East as well. But the story really was the story of how a tribe moved into the Middle East and has butchered them out, these Jesus lovers, while the world sits back, while the UN is ridiculed by fake Christians for trying to impose sanctions on Israel, for trying to get them to stop, to have some restraint in what they're doing. But now with Trump, there's just no way that the UN has enough power or authority to impose anything on Israel. They've always ignored their shit anyway, right? Everybody else is supposed to take sanctions seriously, but somehow Israel can just ignore them. Has ever since day one. They're like, they're just the most egregious shit hole of a fucking existence place. They've got you don't have to worry about sex trafficking in Israel anymore. Do you know why? Because they legalized it in 2011 so that they could get the humanitarian first rating for a country that's taking steps. The steps they took were they legalized trafficking and slavery. And you just, I mean, check it out. Go check out the slavery law or slavery bill that passed in 2011 in Israel. It was like 46-6 or something voted in favor of it. I mean, we're talking about just the most diabolical shit going on. And it's really sad that there's Christians that would support it. So would you support the Utah Utes going in there and butchering out the Mormons? Would that be okay with you? Would that because they claimed some land grant? You know, I mean, it even gets worse with the real story, because Jesus made it quite clear that their father's the devil, and that if God was their father, that they would love him. And they lost their whole little property claim or whatever back in Jude anyway. So, you know, they by a million cuts, I mean, do unto others. I mean, by a million cuts, you know, you'll know them by their fruits. They're con men. And I just hope that these fucking idiot libertarians will stop supporting torture. Well, you know, a few years ago they didn't support torture. A few years ago they didn't support wars all over the place. A few years ago they weren't so damn gullible that they'd allow Jews, like the ones that used to complain about, the ones that danced on 9/11, the ones that owned the fucking Twin Towers, Silverstein, you know. A few years ago they would have wanted Alex Jones to interview Donald Trump to talk about his relationship with Silverstein and what he thinks about the events on 9/11, since he's a developer that lives in the frickin' city. You know, a few years ago these people would have been, and if Trump would have just, you know, tried to say, oh, Silverstein's my friend and this and that, all of these idiots would have hated Trump. They would have never voted for him. They would have never ever, you know, but now they support everything he frickin' does. It doesn't matter if he marches us into camps, if he restricts our travel, if he does anything. You know, Solzhenitsyn said, or Alexander, what's his name? Solzhenitsyn, whatever. He said, you know, first they went for these other dudes, you know. And so, you know, whatever. And then they went for some more dudes over here, and that's whatever, you know. And then one fucking day they came for us. Okay? So when they start restricting the travel of just peaceable people trying to get around for no good damn reason, just because he's a dictator, and then we have these same, I mean, here he is acting like a dictator. I mean, what's all this stuff going on? Just executive order after one another. I mean, Trump or Obama, I mean, Bush or Obama would have been totally ridiculed by these libertards if they would have, you know, I mean, they were ridiculed when they would do these executive order deals. But now Trump just out the gates is just like ignoring any kind of, you know, oversight or working with Congress on anything. It's just bam, 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 bam. And then the Ninth Circuit Court says, you know what? People can travel, dude. Sorry, you're not a dictator. And then all these freaking idiot Ron Paul supporters, supposedly, say, what? Ninth Circuit Court, you're bad. Trump needs to be a dictator and needs to be able to do what he wants. Get out of the way. Nothing will stop the Jew world order. I'm a Shabbos goy and I'm an idiot. Yeah. A few years ago, I mean, I don't even understand this. So, you know, good luck. Good luck with the direction that you're taking us in, you frickin' morons. And so that was today's lesson. Hope you enjoyed it.